because I know folks who have gone and done great things with Skillbridge. I know some folks who have gotten the decline letter from the CO, and but more so, folks get out and do their Skillbridge thing because we want to give the community back. We want to give the American community back, a good work product, leaving the military. We don't want to leave folks stranded. So it's a great opportunity to jump on a Skillbridge if you can.
Welcome everybody again to Retire.Army, the podcast where we discuss things like military retirement, transition, and post-retirement. We talk to members of the military across all branches and services, and we try to get into the details. We also do another sort of episode between myself and Victor, my co-host, where we discuss things a little bit more in depth and try to get into some details a little bit faster and a little bit shorter. For anybody who's listening online, you can find us on iTunes. You can find us on all the podcast places. You can also find us on YouTube and Spotify if you'd like the video version of this. And now we are also currently on Wreaths Across America. We will be airing at 11 p.m. on Wednesday evenings. So you can find us there. You can get Wreaths Across America on iHeartRadio and a couple other places. So check us out there. And thank you for supporting the show. If you need to click around, if you're watching this on YouTube or listening on Spotify or something like that, you can click around the tracks to get through. So you don't have to listen from front to end. It's a smorgasbord, choose your own adventure kind of thing. So with that, welcome back. And how's everything going on your side, Vic?
Everything's going well, man. As good as it can be. The transition is going strong. I'm still navigating through everything, through job offers and things like that. But, it is what it is. You got to get it done, right? Everybody's got to go through a transition. So not a big deal.
Yeah. And today we want to get into mentorship a little bit and talk about some things. So mentorship in general, being able to find mentors or become a mentor yourself, whether you're doing it still in a capacity with the military members that you served with prior, or if you're in a mentorship role in a new job that you're taking on with a corporate partner, or if you're going into a GS position or something like that, and still being able to find mentors and being a mentor to others along the path. So with all that, is there anything you'd like to throw on the table as far as mentorship, what you're doing, or anything you're experiencing post-retirement?
There's a lot, right? You have to be able to seek out mentors if you're going to be transitioning out, right? You don't necessarily need to have a specific person that you go to, but like me, I have folks who work in like different industries that I know of. So if I have a question about how to navigate something, how to best word something on my resume or things like that, I will reach out to them and they will, provide that feedback. But you just have to expand your network, I think, a little bit and just know who to reach out to at what time. And that's why they always kind of beat it into us during that transition period, right? As you're getting out of the military is, establish your network, expand your network, whether it be online, whether it be in person. There's nothing bad that can come of that, I don't think, right? There's a benefit to going to these, online virtual events, and I think they have them like the veterans beer clubs or whatever, the local meetups and stuff like that. Just expanding your network, just getting to know other people. And that definitely has gone a long way for me. So in that aspect, network and mentorship goes a long way if you're trying to find your next step after transition.
Myself personally, I just recently wrapped up a call actually today with American Corporate Partners, who is somebody probably mentioned on the show with Justin. I believe it might have been one episode, but essentially you just go on their website, you fill it out, the form, and then they give you a call back and you set up a meeting time, talk real quick. They ask some questions, get a little bit more in depth on what you're actually looking for, what you're trying to achieve. And then they step back for, anywhere from a day to a few weeks, and they figure out how to pair you up with the best match so that you can start your mentor-mentee kind of journey. It's a 1-year thing. They want you to dedicate about an hour every month, if that's possible. And you can always go further than that if you want to take it like once a week or, 2 times a week or whatever. You just work that out with your mentor. But yeah, I'm just starting that process. So I'll be starting probably within the next 4 to 8 weeks at best. And then it's a 1 year thing. And I get to spend some time with a mentor and talk about business and collaborations on things and how to structure self-employment and things of that nature. That's what I'm focusing on right now. But
Yeah.
you can also get with industry leaders, and they have a pool of people from Fortune 500 companies all over the place. So it's a really, really great resource out there.
And what was the name of that company or the organization?
The American Corporate Partners.
Okay, got it, got it. And if I could, I'd like to share a few that I've gone through as well. So a big one for me that actually helped me out a ton was Hire Heroes USA. That one, they actually, I contacted them just looking online, and somebody had mentioned them, I think on my LinkedIn. I just kind of saw a post on there, and something about a resume, like, hey, we'll help you structure your resume. So I got a hold of these folks, and I got assigned. I can't recall the lady's name, but I got assigned to one of the resume writers, the professional resume writers. And basically, what I did was I sent her 12 years of my evaluations, or in the Marine Corps, we call them fitness reports. 12 years of those, and she made me an entire, from top to bottom, resume. Of course, you're going to have to tailor things, right, to best, fit your criteria, because you always want to tailor your resume to whatever job you're applying to. So in that aspect, yeah, you need to tailor that. But for the most part, the bones were there. And it's completely free, like a free service for anybody transitioning out. Whether you're active duty, have gotten out, and you're already a veteran or retired, they'll help you out. And Hire Heroes USA, awesome, awesome organization. And they still, to this day, I mean, I've been retired, or I had my retirement ceremony last month. I'm still on terminal leave, but they still make an effort to call me every month to see how things are going, to make sure that I'm still applying to positions, that I'm not having any issues or anything like that. If I need any assistance with federal resumes, they'll do that as well. But yeah, I truly appreciate what they're doing. So Hire Heroes USA, awesome. And I think we wanted to talk a little bit about the Skillbridge program too, right? I know we talked a little bit about that offline as well.
Yeah, yeah. If we could jump into that as far as finding mentorship, because that's another good way to dive into mentorship and to
Yeah.
either find a mentor or become a mentor is to get involved with volunteering and things like that. But the Skillbridge program puts you in a position to gain mentorship from a company that you're working for, potentially for a few months before you get off of active service.
Yeah, absolutely. At the base of it, man, it is an absolutely excellent program for anybody looking to jump into something new, whether it be like your same MOS or same job that you had in the military, or if you want to try something new. When I was applying for Skillbridge, I even applied for like bathroom contractor positions, right? Like for the sole fact that I wanted to learn how to renovate my own bathroom without having to pay $100,000 for it, right? So I thought it'd be cool to gain that experience, but it wasn't for me at the end. So big thing here. I'll even share it on here if I got a second.
And we also want to let people know that if you're going to do something like Skillbridge, you definitely need to, for one, you need to let your leadership know as soon as possible so that you can start to coordinate ahead of time because you have a certain time period you have to do the paperwork and get everything turned in and approved and signed. So make sure you
Oh yeah.
plan ahead for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It's usually, I think, about 6 months or so is the cutoff time, because they're going to ask you, the Skillbridge folks are going to ask you, how much longer do you have on your contract, and they normally want to have about 6 months or more with you. So yeah, it's as easy as going to the Skillbridge website. Here it is, going on locations, going down, and say like you want to be I don't know. Let's look up management of some sort, right? And say you want to work in somewhere in Virginia, if I spelled that right. Maybe not. Here we go. Virginia, search. It's going to look up all these different companies, near Virginia Beach, and just expand it and tells you a little bit more about it. It's as simple as that. And I've encountered so many different questions about this, because I run that Facebook military retirement group, and folks always asking, like, does anybody know where I can find X, such and such Skillbridge, electrician or construction? And my first question is like, have you have you even looked at the website yet? Have you done the research yet?
Yeah.
That's probably step one. That's the first thing you should be doing is go on the website because that tells you everything. If the company's not on there and you would like to work with the company, give it about a year or so because they need to apply with the DoD to be, I guess, approved to be one of those DoD Skillbridge approved companies. So it does take some time because the DoD needs to vet all that stuff, right? But I feel like I'm almost like an expert on this whole DoD Skillbridge stuff because I myself tried to apply to one at one point in time. Didn't quite work out how I wanted it to, but it was an excellent program nonetheless.
Yeah, that's the other thing is don't get too discouraged if it doesn't work out. Like it's good to have your hopes up to get it to work out. My school bridge didn't work out either, because my command came through at the last possible second and was like, "Here, we've got the paperwork signed," and I'm like, "We've already passed the deadline." So if it doesn't work out, don't beat yourself up about it because it's rather hard to get through and get all that coordination done and get your command to back it and get the time off and all that stuff. So.
Yeah.
Definitely try to get in there and try to get something that you want, but then also have a backup plan to occupy that last 6 months if you don't get something like that.
Yeah, and I think the command communication is big, right? Because I've seen a lot of like younger folks, E4s, E5s, getting out of the military. They're like, "Hey, my command won't approve this stuff." Well, are they just saying that, or have they actually routed the paperwork and gotten a rejection letter or a decline letter? Right? Just because your staff sergeant or whoever says no, that's fine. You can still route it, right? I mean, it's let the commanding officer is the one who has that is the final decision making authority in that. Let the commanding officer through the chain of command, let him make his or her decision on that. People can put their remarks on there saying, "Hey, we can't lose this person." That's fine, but this is also your life. This is also your life as you're transitioning out. The military's going to continue even after you're gone. You need to actually, advocate for yourself and search, find your own way to get out and transition properly. So yeah, it is. I've heard a lot of stories about that. Folks are like, "Yeah, my command won't approve it," but it's just because they're being told that. They didn't actually route the stuff. When I routed mine, I routed it. I called the S1, which is like the admin section at the squadron, and I met the XO, my XO, at some little gathering that we had, some officers gathering, and I let him know, "Hey, just FYI, I'm routing this package for your signature." And then I just walked into the sergeant major's office myself, and I'm like, "Hey, FYI, I got a package coming through. Just send it to the XO and CO, please. They're already waiting for it." I wouldn't recommend that for everybody. You have to you have to kind of know the sergeant major to walk in there, but it worked out for me, and I had things signed off within a week probably.
Yeah, and I would put out there for even for the lower enlisted and stuff like that may have a little bit more difficulty than somebody who's say a CW2 or a captain. You want to pitch it like you really want to put your stuff together and have all your ducks in a row and make it a value add for the command as much as you can. Of course, they're losing you. You're not going to be there in the section or the squadron or on the team anymore. But you want to be able to put together like a slide deck, a pitch deck to your command and give them the basic upfront information and try to make it as value add to them as possible. If that means you have to work extra hard for 3 months or put in extra hours for 3 months before starting the Skillbridge program, like put that out there, make it something that's viable for them so they can say, "Oh, okay, cool. Well, you're willing to give us a little extra time or a little extra effort." And then, that may or may not help sway the decision. You gotta pitch it.
Yeah, because they are losing you, right, for an extended period of time. And there's not going to be a backfill. That's something I learned too. There's not going to be a backfill. They're not going to place somebody else in that position until you actually leave the military. So there's going to be a blank space there. So somebody's going to have to cover down on your duties, right? So you have to, yeah, you got to make it worth their time, So definitely do your best to, I guess, work as hard as you can. Just like you mentioned, work as hard as you can to fill that position to make sure everything's set up, so that way you're not, you're not being so missed. I guess, and yeah, and I think that'll work out best for you because I know folks who have gone and done great things with Skillbridge. I know some folks who have gotten the decline letter from the CO, and but more so, folks get out and do their Skillbridge thing because we want to give the community back. We want to give the American community back, a good work product. Leaving the military, we don't want to leave folks stranded. So it's a great opportunity to jump on a Skillbridge if you can.
Yeah. And then, so one other one that I want to bring up, and you can pull it up on the screen if you want or not. I don't really have access to my keyboard at the moment, but another one that's similar to the one that you mentioned is Hiring Our Heroes, which is another great
Yeah.
resource out there for military members. I actually have a call set up, and I do it once a week with Hiring Our Heroes, but they do a lot of the similar kind of resume writing for not only the private sector resumes, but also for USA Jobs resumes. And it's a sort of pseudo semi mentorship kind of thing. They call in, they check up on me once a week. We sit down, we talk about what's going on, and we talk about everything because I like to be transparent as possible. So we talk about, life changing events and moving and, selling the house and like all that different stuff that we talk about, me and my contact through Hiring Our Heroes, and they're very responsive. They also put on a lot of job fairs, virtual and in person as well. And I've mentioned them on the show before, but they're another great resource. And then, of course, if you haven't already, go check out Victor's Facebook group that he's got put together. There's probably 1,000 or 2,000 people in there now, and a lot of good information and a lot of good documents in there as far as getting out, doing VA stuff. I don't know if you want to bring that up as well, but
Oh yeah. Bring it up right now.
yeah. So that's another great resource. Of course, you can go to the Retire.Army Facebook page, and it's not as chatty as Victor's page, but also a nice, decent sized group of veterans in there who are talking about retirement and things of that nature. So
Yeah, so here it is. It's on Facebook. It's a group I created just a few months ago, and it's, as you can see, it's got a healthy amount of members. We're going on about 1,200 members now. Shortly, it's called the Military Retirement Group. That's really what it is, the Military Retirement Group. Just go on there, search it, and the biggest thing is like the files tab here. We have all these, everybody can contribute all these things. Like I've contributed several things on here, other folks have contributed several things like transition timelines. Somebody went, all in and started uploading documents that help them, in their VA disability claims, VRNE, which is I think they call it Vet Tech now. It's a way to utilize your benefits as long as you have 1 month left of GI Bill. You can actually apply, and they give you, or they allow you to get a technical certificate like cybersecurity intel, something like that, just utilizing 1 month of your GI Bill. And at certain times, they actually give you BAH for it as well. So you don't actually have to use your GI Bill, but you just have to have 1 month left on your, I guess, account. Yeah, there's just so much good information on here. BDD, that's like applying for VA claim prior to actually leaving active duty. So something I did. And so my active duty time ends like 1 December. So, but I was able to put in a VA claim last month. So I will get a claim, the actual, like the claim number 1 December, or see what I rate in 1 December. So there's no real waiting. And there's also a ton of great discussions on here, right? I always kind of guide discussions on here, like, hey, where are you in your transition process? Tell me something that good that happened this week, etc. We got folks like Keith over here. He's talking about how he retired after 26 years. He tells you all his experiences about it. post up photos, and it's just a good community to be a part of. So I welcome anybody out there who is looking to join a community of like-minded military retirees or people who are ramping up to retire to join up.
Yep, and that's a great kind of closing bookend on it as far as mentorship is concerned. Like that's another great way to get involved as a mentor or find mentorship out there online is different groups like that group that we just put up, or any military groups that you're a part of online, whether it's on LinkedIn or Facebook. You can get involved, join the conversations, and even on TikTok, you can find a lot of good stuff out there now. A couple of the people who have been on the podcast are actually people that were on TikTok that we linked up together and then set up the podcast interview. But it's definitely a great way to either become a mentee from somebody else or
Yeah.
actively be a mentor to somebody else and help somebody else along the path. Because that's what it's all about at the end of the day, is really just pulling people along and pushing people along so that we can all move collectively together to the end point, the end goal.
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, I firmly believe that I cannot hold on to this knowledge. So that's why I created these things. Like I run that YouTube channel, that Facebook group. It's like kind of like each one teach one, right? All this knowledge that I've accrued or I've acquired, I just got to pass it on to the next person, to the next generation, the next person experiencing the whole transition to the civilian world. There's no reason why I should keep all this information to myself. So I figured, let me make these groups, let me share the information, let me pass it along. And the amount of messages I get on Facebook, and I'm not complaining whatsoever. I actually love it because I love talking back and forth with folks about the transition and how I can better help them. The amount of messages I get on Facebook Messenger is astounding, and I love it because I love passing on the word, right? That's been me throughout my whole career, so I love that stuff. So yeah, feel free to reach out via Facebook Messenger or even the green logbook at gmail.com, and I will be happy to assist in any way possible.
Yep. And as far as reaching out, anybody out there who's listening, who's watching the show, tuning in, if there's anything that we can specifically dive into or specifically tackle and try to get some better insight and some information on it, let us know. We're trying to gather and collect all this information into at least one or two spots where we can have it for everybody else in the future. So that's always an option. Just reach out, leave comments if you're on YouTube or if you're on iTunes or whatever. Drop a note or reach out through email. Either way, so just let us know, and we will definitely address anything that you send us and try to get back to you as soon as possible, and try to put out more information here and the other places where we're online. So with all of that, I just want to remind everybody that everything we talked about, we'll have links down in the show notes, or if you're listening on Reads Across America, of course, you can find us on YouTube and on Facebook and all the other places, and contact us if you need to. We are on Reads Across America Wednesday evenings at 11 p.m. And everywhere else you can find us on demand, YouTube, Spotify, all the places where you listen to podcasts as well. So with that, any closing thoughts or comments?
No, hey, I'll tell you what, I'm happy to be a part of this and help folks find their next mission in life, because everybody definitely needs a purpose to in their life, and I firmly believe that. So happy to be a part of this and helping the next person in finding their next mission.
Yeah, and I'm glad to have you on. It's nice to have a co-host, and it's really nice to link up with a fellow warrant officer, even if we weren't the same rank or whatever. But still, it's really cool to cross-pollinate. I mean, I'm an Army guy, you're a Marine guy. Like, who would have thought?
Yeah, right. So
Yeah. So we're doing multi-divisional, what is it, multi-tiered operations here. So
that's right. That's right. So cross service or operations, but that's a good reach, because that goes to show you it's not just for a Marine, for a soldier. It serves well for airmen, for, I don't know, what do you call somebody from the Space Force? A Space Forceman. I don't know. It's too new for me. Or Coast Guard, a coastie, right? So, yeah, it fits well for every service. You know, at some point, everybody's going to have to get out of the military, and you don't want to be left with, you know, not knowing what to do. So happy to get the message out to everybody.
Yeah. So for everybody out there watching or listening, thank you for listening, tuning in again. As you are our sponsors, you're the sponsors of the show by giving us your attention and your time and graciously allowing us to occupy a few minutes of your time online or wherever you're checking us out. So thank you very much. And until next time, we will talk to you all later. Have a great one.